Boise's home prices have gone up a lot, but there's not really anything comparing just the cost of homes between each Boise suburb all in one place. So let's take a look at each suburb's housing prices and find out what $550,000 looks like in Boise versus Meridian versus the rest of the Boise suburbs. Boise is a tough one because you have around 4 different sections. You have Southeast Boise, the Boise Bench, West Boise, and then the North End, and then of course downtown. Each of these has a little bit different style and value of home. But Boise as a whole, so all of these sections, is sitting at a median home price of about $580,000, with a big part of that being lifted up by the North End of Boise, where the median home there is at $680,000. The North End is by far the most expensive part of Boise, where a home in the $550,000 range looks something like this. It's much smaller, can look more like a glorified mobile home, and you just don't get as much for what you pay. The rest of the North End is a lot larger homes tucked up in the foothills, with homes frequently getting into the multi-million-dollar range. Southeast Boise is another part of the city that is a little spendier, but not quite as much as the North End, with a median home around $580,000 and a home in that $550,000 range looking something like this. You get a lot more room, you usually have a yard, and most of the time you'll be in a great community like Elevation Ridge, Columbia Village, and you have larger subdivisions with a lot more amenities and people than you might in the North End. Another part of Boise that I enjoy is South Boise. The median home here is around $520,000, so a little bit cheaper, and you have more options for land out here. You're a little bit further away from the busy areas, which is nice, and then you're also connected right to Meridian, South Meridian, and all of the great places that Meridian has, like the Village and all of Eagle Road. A $550,000 home in South Boise looks something like this, where you get a little bit newer home and a touch more bang for your buck, while being a lot more centralized in the entire valley and having easier access to all of the things that the Treasure Valley has. The last two Boise areas are similar and some of the least favorite parts of Boise. That is the Bench and West Boise, with a median home value in both of these around that $400,000 mark. These are the older, more rundown parts of the city with pockets of higher end nice homes. And a $550,000 home here looks like this, where you have that older mid-century look, and you get this style of home all over the Bench in West Boise, with some very specific parts of the Bench especially having multi-million-dollar communities. But for the most part, your homes are going to be cheaper and smaller in these two areas. The median home here is sitting at $520,000, but I would say the newer communities are a little bit more spendy than that. You'll see a little later on that Star is one of the 2 major small towns I love here in the valley, and Kuna, my other favorite, is much more affordable than Star. A $550,000 home in Star is very comparable to the north end of Meridian, so the north side of Meridian that you'll see a little bit later, where you can get a 2,000 square foot home in a new or newer home in your typical neighborhood and subdivision community. And as you're seeing now, the communities in Star are very similar to what you will see in Eagle or Meridian. And Eagle is a big reason Star ends up being more expensive than I think it needs to be. Eagle is the most expensive suburb in the valley at about $980,000 median list price and $680,000 median sale price, which in my opinion, it is overpriced out here, although you do get a lot of cool amenities in Eagle. And at the end of the day, the homes are worth what people are willing to pay for them. But I do think that there are other places in the valley that you can save a lot of money and get similar amenities to the ones that you have in Eagle. Now, me and my team specialize in helping people like you move to the Boise area. I have people reaching out all of the time wanting to move here, and we love to help you truly figure out the area, figure out what will be the best for your situation, and feel confident and excited to move to the area. So shoot me a text or a call anytime. I look forward to getting to know you and helping you in this process. And maybe if you truly love Eagle and you want a home in that $550,000 range, you can take a look at a home like this where you may be living in a little bit more crowded subdivision, but you really want to be right on the Boise River and be an Eagle next to the foothills while having somewhat of that short drive into downtown Boise or Meridian. You definitely get less home for more money here, but for some people it really can just be a perfect fit. Now, from most expensive to one of the most affordable, the median home in Nampa is around $420,000. And this is drawing a lot of people to move here, and some of that is out of want, and a lot of people have it as the only option that they can really afford anymore here. You will see that for $550,000 in Nampa, you can get a lot more home for your money with more land at a quarter acre and almost 3,300 square feet. And CBH has a ton of homes like this in that northern part of Meridian. There's also much cheaper homes on acreage out here aside from CBH. And if you live in a good area of Nampa, it really can be worth that savings that you get. Caldwell is a very similar story with a median home at $400,000, so even cheaper than Nampa, and homes in the $550,000 range, getting you even more for what you pay. This is one of my favorite, and where I currently live, the median homes here will be around $460,000. And if you enjoy a smaller town with easy access to Boise, it is an awesome option. It backs up to South Meridian and has a lot of growth and investment potential, while being able to get a lot more home for your money right now than maybe Meridian or Boise. Something like a home in Trilogy where you pay the same as in North Meridian, but you are on what is about to be a private golf course in Falcon Ridge and in a much nicer build home. And if that isn't your style, you can live right in Kuna, close to the stores, in a place like Sterling Ranch for a similar price point, giving you some amazing options. Kuna is definitely one of my favorite suburbs and one of my favorite values for the homes that you can get out here. Meridian is similar, although you really have North and South Meridian. Meridian as a whole sits at around $590,000 median home price, so a touch higher than Boise. The north side of Meridian is at about $575,000, but that gets skewed because there are a lot of homes in the $400,000 to $500,000 range in the central part of Meridian. The northern part has a ton of homes in the $600,000+ range, especially around Shinden Road, Spurwing, and so it is a little bit more expensive in North Meridian, depending on what you are looking at. A home here in the $550,000 range is going to look something like this, where you have new construction or newer homes with around 2,000 square feet in amazing parts of Meridian with a nice neighborhood. You usually have a pool. And then South Meridian at $550,000, you can get a CBH home, which is one of the builders here, like this, with a little more room, and overall you get a little bit more bang for your buck in South Meridian. And this is a really big development part of Meridian, so it's growing. And again, kind of similar to Kuna, it has that investment potential where right now you can get in for a little bit cheaper with that upside of knowing that there's some development coming. If you want to see some of these in more detail, check out this video on the top 3 suburbs in Boise, where I really discuss why you might want to live in one of these 3 Boise suburbs and not some of the others.